So good morning everyone, and welcome to this STARS tutorial, today dedicated to sustainable development in railway business. Due to some technical problems, my personal webcam is not working, so sorry for this, but you can see together with me, I'm Veronica Elena Bocci, the coordinator of the STARS project, the other two experts of today's webinar, Susanne Resch from BNN, Bio-Nanonet Forschung in Austria, and Guido Ancarani from DITECFER Railway Cluster in Italy. Let me introduce immediately the topic of today, but also allow me to spend just 1 minute and one slide in introducing what are the STARS tutorials and ultimately what is the STARS project. In order to better frame what is the goal of today's meeting. STARS is a EU-funded project aimed to support SMEs of the rail and multimodality sector to adopt the so-called advanced technologies. This is financed by the COSME program of the EU and is implemented by a large partnership composed by 17 partners. Out of them, 10 are cluster organizations, plus the University of Birmingham that has just established a railway cluster for UK, a digital innovation hub that is actually...
Veronica, you are not sharing the slide.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
Yes.
Does it work now? Okay, thank you, and sorry for the trouble. So the point is this partnership, together with also 5 technology centers and 1 startup with competencies in blockchain technology, is delivering this project that is aiming to develop and pilot new ways to engage, mobilize, and somehow support SMEs of the rail and multimodality sector to adopt advanced technologies such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, big data, digital twin, and so on. So the STARS tutorial is one of the tools that we are using. So our goal is not just to deliver to you a webinar, rather it will be a kind of how-to. So in this case, how to make your business models more sustainable in order to produce not only an ethical impact on the economy and society, but also to develop and to deliver a business value to your own company. Let me remind you that at the end you will be introduced shortly to the new 2 new tutorials coming, and to remind you that you can watch also the past tutorials in the dedicated STARS YouTube channel. For those that can be interested, let me also remind you that we are now running the 4th Hack and Match event, that is a kind of hackathon not for researchers, rather for companies. And now we are running the one dedicated to digital twin and artificial intelligence for railway processes, products, and services. And we have the call for solutions open since yesterday. But let's come to today's topic. Okay, what the tutorial will cover? We will introduce you to the key question: why you should care for sustainability as a company. Then we will address the point regarding reduction of externalities in the railway value chain and create business value at the same time. And we will specifically then focus on the safe and sustainable by design methodology by Susanne Resch, circularity and business models from my side. And last but not the least, we will present you some available tools based on advanced technologies developed by tech-savvy SMEs in Europe. So, first question, why you should care for sustainability beyond ethical reasons? What is the state of the art in the railway sector? We are used to say that the railway sector, the railway transportation mode is by far the most sustainable out of the others. And this is true. But still, as industry, as value chain, it has an impact. And the effort from the value chain is absolutely towards achieving and increasing the sustainability of our actions. If you go through the several websites of the national railways and the big corporations of the railway sector, you will see how sustainability has a large space on their websites. Okay, being green is not just some kind of act, it's the future, tells to us Deutsche Bahn. And in UK, Network Rail has adopted an environmental sustainability strategy looking towards 2050, for instance. And in Italy as well, sustainability is a way to move our country towards a sustainable future. And all the group and its company are committed towards sustainability. Also in France, of course, they promote decarbonization also through their supply chain for a green transition, and so on and so forth. And this is what the final market of the all of us is requesting. By consequence, who is delivering to these organizations at the very first level the solutions they are requiring are the large corporations such as Hitachi, Alstom, and many others. And you can see how also them emphasize on their websites a low carbon future and their efforts towards this. We know that the framework in terms of innovation, technologies, and policy vision is to reduce CO2 emissions by, let's say, a first deadline that is 2030, but such reduction should be much higher by 2050. And the reduction should go through all the entire value chain. Same from, let's say, Alstom, for instance, and many, many others. So sorry for the ones I'm not mentioning, but this is just to emphasize the trend. What these large corporations already do since many years when they sell to the final market, to their final customers, their trains, trams, and so on, they deliver also environmental product declarations. So there is already this strong commitment, and there is a transparency also in the way and in the way the products are manufactured and the way they will impact throughout the life cycle of the train. If you don't know, okay, the environmental product declarations is an international system that manufacturers and service providers may use because it is, of course, internationally recognized, delivered by, renowned third parties, and the declarations are really credible about the environmental performance data offered and described into these declarations. All of this is made according to the relevant international standards concerning sustainability. And so this is a way, very concrete way, that large corporations are using for emphasizing the environmental impact, reduce environmental impact of their solutions. If we have a very short look at how an environmental product declaration may look like, they are all online, they are all transparent, of course. I just chose one, in this case from ArcelorMittal in Spain, and because it is well described. And this part, I think, is very interesting for our purposes, because what was done was a life cycle assessment to the relevant product, and the results shown with the transparency. And you can see the LCA is made all along the life cycle, okay, of the target product, from the product stage, starting with the raw material supply, up to all the use and end of life of the product. So this is the right approach to look at sustainability topics in your company, at company level and at product level. So if you want to learn something and see how this can be done, you can have a look at this kind of declarations. So first conclusion, okay, before moving forward. Sustainability is a strong market driver, and as such, it should be seen as a market opportunity for our companies. There is and there will be an increased demand for sustainable products, services, and solutions from rail transport operators, the infrastructure managers, and large companies in the rail sector. The environmental performance is assessed against the complete life cycle of a product or solution, and this demand affects the entire rail supply chain, because of course we cannot think that all the effort made by the large train manufacturers has no impact on the type of supplies that are requiring to the rail supply chain. So there are strong interdependencies, and starting on that, we understand that each company has to do something in this regard. Life cycle, we have said, so everything has to be seen under a life cycle point of view. This is just, I mean, a very strict graphic summary of how, I mean, the railway system is composed, and the life cycle for us starts from the works, goes through the manufacturing of onboard or trackside components, the operations, maintenance, up to the end of life. All of this, despite we are talking about the greenest transport mode, produces externalities. And the externalities produced by our sector concern materials, concern waste, hazardous substances, energy consumption, gas emissions, noise and vibration, land use, and biodiversity. These are the main externalities. And as such, we need to measure them, not just say that we have this impact, but we need to know how much we impact, what is the impact of each action. And therefore, we need indicators. And indicators, of course, change according to the type of externality. So we can measure the CO2 intensity, equivalent intensity of supplies, or the level of reusability or recyclability of materials, or the energy consumption, or so on, okay? When you measure, you know, and this is what we need to do. We need to start our sustainability approach and business model, starting with quantification and data. And you will see better later how this is important, the quantification and the data. So how to go from negative externality to value for a company. This is what we will try to understand. All of us know that there are some key drivers. Each of us is striving towards them. They can be energy efficiency, they can be the more general decarbonization, and the use of less resources and waste. And there are some key tools that we may use, and we will see some of them today. So eco-design, for instance, safe and sustainable by design, or circularity business models. And let me just stress these two words, design, because according to the European Commission, over eight. Sorry for the trouble. Over 80% of all product-related environmental impacts are determined during the design phase of the product. So this is the first key reason explaining why we have to use a very broad approach towards sustainability that is not just a very specific decision that can affect one singular element, but we have to follow a very holistic and design-driven approach to it. At this point, if you allow me, I would like to launch a first poll to the participants to know what the question is, if your company has already introduced sustainability models or not. So there are, 5 options for you. From, the more holistic one, that is, yes, we have developed a comprehensive strategy, up to I'm not already in because my customers don't require from us green performances yet. So thank you. If you let's wait some more seconds. Up to now, let's say more than 63% have voted. Okay, the last 5 seconds. Okay, let's close it and let's see if it can now show the result here. Hope so. Can you see, I hope, the results on the screen?
Yes.
So, okay, thank you. So we see that the majority has answered that are, let's say, midway. Okay, we are currently working to define goals and how to. This is followed by by a leading group of 33%, that is quite good, that has already developed a comprehensive strategy. and then similar level between who has already introduced some specific vertical improvements and who is just considering the opportunity to do something. Okay, it's nice to see that only a very small minority is in the situation where the customers are not requiring green performances. Okay, so thank you very much for having shared with us this. So okay, right. Let's move on. And so we are now in the point to start to jump into the specific models, and I hand the over to Susanne for the presentation of the safe and sustainable by design methodology. Thank you, Susanne.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Veronica. I just need rights to share my screen, or
yeah.
Alternatively, you can share them. I sent them also via email. So whatever is easier.
Yeah, I will. I think I will. Okay. Make presenter. Okay. Now you are entitled. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. So let me see. Are you seeing my slides already or not?
Yes.
Perfect. In the full screen, or because I have two screens and I never know which one is shown to participants?
Not in the full. I see on the sidebar. The preview mode. Yeah, now it's a full screen mode. Yes.
Perfect. Excellent. So it should work now. Perfect.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry, no. Wait. Great. Okay. Thank you very much, Veronica, for this very nice introduction. We will now jump into the topic safe and sustainable by design. So I will tell you now about the safe and sustainable by design framework. As you already said, I am working for BNN in Graz in Austria. We're also happily part of the STARS project. And my background actually comes more from the pharmacy nanomedical side. And we are very active in nanosafety and safety for advanced materials since many years. And now this topic of safe by design got expanded to safe and sustainable by design. So let's jump into the topic already. So what is the ecosystem that from that the safe and sustainable by design framework or concept evolved from? So of course you see sustainable development goals as defined by the UN, and also sustainability science became a very hot topic. Then we have principles and concepts like green chemistry, green engineering, circular chemistry, sustainable chemistry. Then other things like safe by design, life cycle assessment, already touched by Veronica, and risk assessment. And also from the policy side, we have, of course, the Green Deal priorities and the European Industrial Strategy. And so there is really a lot of different things going on and topics that somehow contributed that this framework of safe and sustainable by design was developed. So what can you understand under this term safe and sustainable by design? So a very first description of this concept was provided in the European Commission's Chemical Strategy for Sustainability, which was published already in 2020. And here it says that safe and sustainable by design can be defined as a pre-market approach to chemicals that focuses on providing a function or service while avoiding volumes and chemical properties that may be harmful to human health or the environment. So you already see it's a mixture of safety and sustainability topics, and particular groups of chemicals likely to be toxic or ecotoxic, persistent, bioaccumulative or mobile, And overall sustainability should be ensured by minimizing the environmental footprint of chemicals, in particular with respect to climate change, resource use, ecosystems, and biodiversity from a life cycle perspective. So this is only 2 sentences, but it is really very broad and holistic. So I think already from these 2 sentences, you get a feeling that it's a very broad topic that covers many different aspects. And also coming back to the value chain that Veronica presented and the externalities that have influence. The first topic, if you remember on her slide, was materials. So this safe and sustainable by design framework concept really addresses the very first step, so really chemicals and materials, but then also the processes in which they are produced and used, and also the products that will be made out of them. So it's a really very holistic approach. So quickly to the regulatory context. As already heard, of course, sustainability is a cross-sector hot topic. And it's a high priority in the European Union, the UN in its strategies. So I listed here just a couple of documents that are related to it, such as the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the Circular Economy Action Plan, Zero Pollution Action Plan, and of course, very important for this safe and sustainable by design concept, the EU's chemical strategy for sustainability. This is a non-exhaustive list, so there are many more, of course. Now, specifically for safe and sustainable by design, what was the history? So I guess you're all aware that the European Green Deal was published in December 2019. And in the Green Deal, you find a roadmap with a list that has key activities in there. And then a little less than a year later, the chemical strategy for sustainability was launched, which is one key activity to achieve the Green Deal's goals, specifically the goal towards a zero pollution ambition for a toxic-free environment. And this also impacts the currently ongoing revision of the CLP and REACH. And after that, in December 2022, the European Commission also published a recommendation on safe and sustainable by design. And this specific recommendation refers in its annex to the so-called JRC SSBD framework. So it's the SSBD framework that was developed by the Joint Research Center, which is the research entity from the European Commission in Ispra in Italy. So in the next slides, I will specifically focus on this framework developed by JRC. So you see here 2 screenshots of 2 reports and also with the DOI. So if you're interested, I highly recommend that you have a look into these documents. And also in the framework, it says that safe and sustainable by design is an approach to the design, development, and use of chemicals and materials that focuses on providing a functional service while reducing harmful impacts to human health and the environment. So more or less the same as it was referred in the chemical strategy for sustainability. And the 2 documents, the one is a very comprehensive review of safety and sustainability dimensions, aspects, methods, indicators, and tools. And the other report is really then about the framework and how to address all of this. So in a nutshell, how does this framework look like? So you see 2 phases, more or less. The first one is the design or redesign phase, where you have in total 8 SSBD principles that should be followed in design or innovation phases. These principles are based on strategies like green chemistry, sustainable chemistry, or safe by design. And very specifically, the 8 principles are material efficiency, minimize the use of hazardous chemicals and materials, design for energy efficiency, use renewable sources, prevent and avoid hazardous emissions, reduce exposure to hazardous substances, design for end of life, and also consider the whole life cycle. So these principles should really help to optimize in the design phase, or if there is the need to redesign and optimize still also afterwards. And then after this first part, there is also an assessment part, which is called sustainability assessment, but the first steps are actually based on safety aspects. So you have in total 5 different steps listed in this assessment phase. The first one is about the material chemical hazard assessment. The second one is human health and safety aspects in material chemical processing phase. And the third one is human health and environmental effects in the use phase. So these are more or less the safety assessment topics and aspects. And then this is complemented by step 4, environmental sustainable assessment, LCA, life cycle assessment. And since sustainability is a very holistic approach and topic, we also have step 5, which is then about social and economic sustainability assessment. And out of all these different steps, then you should get an SSBD assessment result. And the graphic on the left-hand side to it shows what is included into this assessment. And this really goes from the chemical material synthesis, production use phase, then also use in the products, how it is for the consumer, how is it with the waste, how does it go to environment or not. And then, yeah, the full life cycle more or less also included. So it's a very broad framework, I would say, with many different aspects, but it's important to consider all of this, as sustainability is this holistic approach. So the idea is to have the design phase and do more or less in parallel safety, sustainability, and techno-economic feasibility assessment. Use all the knowledge that is generated out of these assessments for design or redesign, and then hopefully move towards a safe and sustainable by design material, process, product. Yes, this should really support, so the long-term vision, I would say, is really this toxic-free environment. So to not use hazardous chemicals and materials at all in the future. The Commission is now putting really a lot of efforts to find good substitutes. A good example are also the PFAS. So they want to ban them as they are really very persistent and they stay in the environment more or less for forever. So they put a lot of efforts now to find good alternatives that are safe and sustainable, and so that they can substitute the hazardous substances and materials and chemicals. And all of this should also, on the other hand, it should not be seen as a restriction, but it should also support and encourage innovation in Europe to be really front runner on these sustainability topics. So if you do and follow this SSBD framework, and if you do the assessments, a potential outcome could then look like this. So you have all the different subtopics listed from all 5 steps, and then you get a rating how your material chemical performs in different uses and products. And the aim would be then to use this knowledge and optimize, of course. So this could be a potential outcome. This whole framework is still under refinement. So there were several stakeholder workshops in the last year. It's under construction, and it's also now the challenge to see how this can be implemented in practice, because as you see here, it's a very, very broad holistic approach. In the last half year, also some first case studies were performed where this SSBD framework was implemented. Just to let you know, I mean, this is now different sectors, but one case study was focused on phthalates in food contact materials. And then there were 3 other case studies that were led by the industrial partners, and the JRC supported them. 2 were on flame retardants in ICT equipment, and one case study was on enzymes in cotton production. And the learnings and the outcomes from these case studies were more or less that many or a lot of data for the different assessment steps is not available yet. So we still need to work on having the right methods and tools to implement all the different subtopics and get the real data out of it to really make an impact and optimize in this way. The draft report of these case studies is under consultation, and also more case studies are planned. As I said, this whole framework is still under refinement and development. So a first approach on how to implement this in practice. So in the European Commission's recommendation from December, they refer to a template that could be used for reporting on SSBD for chemicals and materials. And this covers 3 main parts: general information, then also promoting the SSBD framework and research and innovation activities, and then specifically for the SSBD framework input, it's about information on the chemical and material assessed, then the SSBD principles used, and also the outcomes of the safety and sustainability assessment. This is available as a draft template under the link provided in the slide. Very quickly on national or international activities also on SSBD, just to let you know that there are also other big initiatives focusing on this currently. The first one is the so-called PARC, which is the Partnership for the Assessment of Risks from Chemicals. It's a 7-year co-funded public-public partnership, and one work package really focuses on the operationalization of SSBD. So they want to develop a toolbox that helps then the implementation in real cases and trying to address the different topics. Then there is one project, the International Ecosystem for Accelerating the Transition to Safe and Sustainable by Design Materials, Products and Processes, called IRIS. Main aim of this project is to establish an international network for SSBD for all chemicals and materials. And then there is also very interesting European technology platform on sustainable chemistry. And this is also the umbrella network of some national platforms. So in Austria, for instance, we also have a national sustainable chemistry platform, SUSCAM AT. And also, I think I haven't mentioned it yet, this framework is meant to be used for all already existing chemicals and materials, but also, of course, for new materials, advanced materials that will be developed or are in development. And following this SSBD concept can really help to be more competitive compared to others, because you have to be aware that most likely there will be some regulatory obligations, maybe in 2 years or so. So there's also a lot of discussion to include sustainability topics, at least into the REACH registration dossiers. Just very quickly about this IRIS project, because we are also part of it. You see here the partners of the project. It's a 2-year CSA action. And the scope of the project is to develop a global permanent network that supports the SSBD implementation in industry along value chains to achieve more safe and sustainable products for society, and also to establish synergies with industry, the European Commission, and also projects that are working with SSBD concepts. And it should also be a place for building, sharing, and transferring skills and knowledge on SSBD. And just to let you know that it's focused on 7 value chains, and we also have CEFIC as partner that coordinates 7 value chains representatives on packaging, textiles, construction chemicals, automotive, energy materials, electronics, and also fragrances. Yeah, so next steps and outlook. So there is currently a 2-year test phase from this JRC SSBD framework underway. This test phase runs until early 2025. EU projects are invited to fill in this template on SSBD that I quickly showed you before. And there are also called topics in Horizon Europe that specifically focus on SSBD. The ones listed here had the deadline in April, so soon they should start. I would say maybe September or the latest end of the year. There should be new projects coming that really address new methods for this SSBD and how to implement it in industry cases. And also, I mean, I guess all of you are kind of active on social media. Yesterday on Twitter, I saw this posting from Peter Droll, who is from DG RTD in the European Commission. And he also actively invites everybody to test the SSBD framework and join the test until end of June. So there is also, it's really a hot topic also from the Commission side. So there is a lot of discussion also on policy level. I think that was already everything from my side. Happy to take any questions, or do we do this later, Veronica? Maybe back to you now as moderator.
Yes, so thank you very much, Susanne. Yes, for the participants, feel free to draft and to post your questions for Susanne in the chat. We will address them all together at the end of the presentations. And let me thank you also for having, at the end emphasized, I mean, highlighted that there is this open opportunity for the companies to test this method. So what we will do with the participants will be, of course, to share the link to engage and try, I mean, on directly this methodology. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now I take back, okay, presenter. I should be ready to return, I mean, to my slides. I hope you can see them. Yes. So, yes, after this first methodology, that is focused on chemicals and materials that, as I said, and also hazardous substances that are, yes, I mean, a part of the externalities produced by our sector. Let's jump into possible circular business models, because circularity, circular economy, as normally addressed, is of course a concrete way to do things in a different way. But our invitation here today is to have a look at all these tools and methodologies under a business point of view. So let's see if I hope so. First of all, let's try to frame the concept. What we mean for circular economy. Out of, let's say, of the many meanings that I have found out, I decided that the one I prefer, the one that in my very personal opinion better emphasize what it is all about, it is that, again, it's, let's say, a methodology. We will see if only just a methodology, but again, is restorative by design. This is the impact of circular economy and how it works, why it is restorative by design, because it aims to keep products, components, and materials at their highest utility and value at all times. So there are four key concepts here. Okay, keep, that gives the sense of long term. Okay, to keep something, I mean, continuing to deliver utility and value throughout all times. That means throughout the life cycle. Again, we find some keywords already scouted. And to me, the point of highest utility, keep highest utility and value, refers to the sense of resource efficiency and productivity. So extract from each product, each component, and each material its best efficiency and make it productive in the best possible way. Ultimately, this means no waste. Okay, we don't need, we have to avoid to waste the opportunity to keep and to have this efficiency and productivity into our company, in our products, in our components, in our materials. So circular economy is not just, let's say, to avoid waste or reuse waste that in our mind can be just the final waste of something. Waste in this sense should be understood as an optimal use of any component, any material, any product. And again, as said, how to make this not just, let's say, cherry picking, ongoing randomly, rather to go and to decide this by design. So from the very first steps of the process. So a second meaning, I think, that we may like, if we agree on the previous concept, it is that circular economy is ultimately an umbrella concept encompassing many different waste and resource management strategies that have the capacity to avoid, reduce, or remove what? Structural waste existing in a linear economy. So again, it's not just the final waste, okay, that may go to the incinerator. It is hunt the waste throughout the value chain, throughout the supply chain. And an umbrella concept because we can achieve this goal using different type of strategies that will allow us to avoid waste and to manage the resources in an efficient and optimal way. Different strategies may mean not just reuse, remanufacturing, recycling, reducing, but also think to product life extension, think to servitization, think to product service systems, and so on. Okay, so we have plenty of opportunities to fight structural waste in our company or in our products and services. Let me be concrete, okay? Taking to you a case example that has not to do with the railway sector, but because it is about sugar that we daily use, it's really easy to be understood, okay? The British Sugar is a UK-based company that, of course, produces sugar, okay? They have optimized their manufacturing processes so that nowadays, out of every ton of sugar produced, they only have less than 200 grams of waste, okay? So this is having improved the core production process to fight the waste. And this is what I think each of us may think about when we are asked to apply circularity or sustainability models to our company. Okay, we just somehow focus on the core business, on the core production process. But they did most of this, and this is why the case example is interesting. Their innovative approach to manufacturing enabled them to create a range of byproducts and co-products that now make up over 50% of their revenues. And these are selling removed soil and stone from the cleaning process for the construction sector, or the lime from the sugar purification process to the agricultural sector. So what did they do? They fight the waste anywhere to identify new business opportunities. So this is the right approach when you want to embrace circularity business models and not just focusing on one or a few improvements in your company. So the key word here is waste. And according to the EIT Climate Kick, there are big 5 structural wastes that we have, that no matter the sector are there and we should avoid them, okay? Let's say that on the one side, we can separate the concept of products that are assembled, okay, assemblies of components, so final products, and what here is called particles. Particles means molecules, means materials, means the starting point of everything. So be it particles, be it products, we have the risk each time to have both a premature end of life and underused capacity. So these are potential waste that we always need to try to avoid. And then there is a 5th waste, that is the excess use of something. Okay, so we overproduce something that is not being exploited, so we have an excess, we have a waste, or harmful use. So we deal with something that, as said by Susanne, is maybe toxic, is harmful, and in many ways, and in this case through the safe and sustainable by design, should be avoided with the decisions, alternative decisions to be taken to avoid such kind of waste. So far, we have said circularity, but circularity is this umbrella concept that goes against the linear production, let's say, processes we are used to, okay, linear economy and circular economy. And you see that the linear economy is something where the value, that is a keyword here, is created during, let's say, the pre-use phase. So when we are manufacturing something. And then we have the use phase. Let's think to a train. We have the pre-use phase where the train is manufactured with all the supply chain involved. And then there is the use phase that concerns the operations of the train. And then at the end of the operations and after maintenance, there is a value loss and value destruction. This is the linearity, the way, the type of economy we are coming from. What does the circular economy offer to all of us? It offers the creation of a value throughout the pre-use phase, the creation of value during the operational phase, and also in the post-use, we can recapture value and put it again into the value chain, into the economy, according to, let's say, again, different business models, and to create new value that can turn into revenues for our companies. The problem is that so far, only less 9% of the world economy is circular. So there is much to do with this. Here you can find, let's say, the 5 structural wastes, how they impact on a circular economy model. If we have, let's say, a premature end of use in terms of products, we can have remedies to extend the product life, okay, that can ignite some loop strategies to maintain and make the product more durable. Maybe we recondition it. In case of a train, we revamp it, and so on. And so we ensure that the product can have a longer duration and value. In the case of underused product capacity, there are other remedies that we can invent. And again, through loop strategies, we can find alternate use or sharing type of use. In the case of premature end of life of particles, of materials that refer to the lower part of the supply chain, other types of remedies can be identified, and this may refer, for instance, to recycling or composting or so on. And again, for underused capacity, again, of particles and materials, again, we can think to use the waste for energy purposes, or cascading or downcycling. And last but not the least, for the excess use, excess production or harmful use, we can remedy using non-toxic products and to efficient maybe production processes that nowadays are overproducing and therefore generating inefficiencies in our company. How to address this? Because this is a tutorial and we try to give you some concrete tools. Okay, one of the most interesting tools is the so-called Circularity Compass. The Circularity Compass has been defined again by the IT Climate Kick, and it is a tool, so it is just an instrument that aims to help us think about how to address circularity in our company. Okay, this model can be applied both at company level, so a holistic approach to our company, or also at product level. So you can have many of these compasses developed per each of your products. Okay, it applies to 3 states. Okay, we have a higher part that refers to the materials, the particles. Okay, so the key inputs of a production process. Then we have the parts side, that is, let's say, the sub-assemblies and components, and the lower part has to do with the final products, so the finished goods. Okay, and the idea is that you can draw where a virgin raw material enters into your process. Imagine your product. It can be a train, it can be a rail, it can be an electronic board, whatever. Okay, you will have some raw material, and you see in this compass the raw material enters from the highest part that refers to particles and materials. And then you can draw with a pen, with a pencil, what type of, let's say, of first outgoing flows your process is producing. So if you have some first waste or pollutant that is produced during your process or by your company, and how this goes out from your company and enters into, let's say, into the environment. You should map for each part, for each state, material state, components states, and products state, what is this impact that you are producing? And again, you have the same environmental impact for a later stage, that is the end of life and end of use of your product. For instance, you have the user stage, so you can show if you have some dissipation at product level. So once you have produced your final product, if there is some dissipation, this can refer to solvents, paints, for instance, coatings, lubricants, and so on. There is the possibility of direct reuse, okay, of the product, of products. There is that if you have some residues in the manufacturing process, you can rework them, so you can reintroduce them into the loop, okay, of the manufacturing process, and you draw this again if this happens in your case. you can show in this way if and when refurbishment and remanufacturing stages are bringing value into your process. And here you can draw if there is some circular loop that you are creating, because maybe you have decided to extend the product duration and to renew its life through specific decisions that you will have taken. Ultimately, this can be, I mean, a commented way of the circularity compass, where you see the different manufacturing phases that go all along from the higher part to the lower part, go all along from the raw materials up to the final product. Then also the logistics is included, the following use and treatment is included, and you see in the central part of the compass some modalities that help close the loop, so ignite a circular economy inside your company, because you can decide to remake a product, you can repair and maintain, you can reconstitute, you can reuse it. So all these decisions have to be taken at a company level, but the important point here is to have a thorough look at how, I mean, these flows of materials and processes happen in your company, to hunt if any waste is produced, to map if you are producing externalities that go into the environment at the several stages, and ultimately try to understand if there is any opportunity for you to hunt not only core wastes, but also other wastes that can open up to business opportunities and revenues for your company. When returning to the example of a British sugar, you can see that the black parts that in the past, in a linear economy, for them were just wastes that were going into the environment, as I said, soil, lime from the production process, and so on. Okay, today have become revenues and buy and co-products for them. Let me show you, before to close, also another story, okay? The story of a caterpillar, just to show that circularity may mean not only recycling, but also thinking to your product in another way and offering your product to the market in a different way. In the case of Caterpillar, they decided to extend the life of their products, okay, through durability and remanufacturing. Okay, you know that the huge machines that the heavy machines that they manufacture require a huge amount of materials, okay, that in times like the ones we are living today, for supply chain disruptions may become, okay, a critical aspect. So in their case, what they decided is to, let's say, not just to sell a product and then forget it, okay, but to recover their machineries from the customers, remanufacture them, okay, and to put them again into the market. So extending the durability of the machineries and the remanufacturing part of them. In this way, they have, yes, reduced the market price of their machineries by 50–60%. That is not just a small discount, but on the other hand, they have put the attention on the reduction of costs at material level. And at the same time, they have made their company more resilient because they can control much, much better the flow of raw materials that they would have needed to start manufacturing their machineries again. So, and as you can see, in the case of Caterpillar, looking at the Circularity Compass, their circularity business model lies in a different place than British Sugar. It lies into the, let's say, after use, okay, recycling and reuse of their final products. So I hope that you will be willing to test this methodology in your company, starting maybe at the product level, and start seeing what else you can do with your products. Okay, we will share with you this compass so that you can start from today engaging your teammates in this kind of brainstorming. Thank you from my side. And now let me give the floor for the final presentation to Guido Ancarani, that will show you, again, how concretely you can embrace the sustainability through available tools. Thank you, Guido.
Thank you, Veronica. Do you see my screen?
Yes, yes, perfect. Thank you.
So it's in presentation mode. Thank you. Yes, my name is Guido Ancarani. I'm business developer in DITECFER, and my presentation today will be on tools enabling sustainable business based on advanced technologies, which is coming from a selection of STAR database. I would like, first of all, to thank Suzanne, because I will use one of her word, which is regulation. We will see that this will be important. And one word from Veronica presentation, which is circular economy. We will see that this will be useful in our tool presentation. So first of all, I would like to say that in STARS project, we are already at the third release of the tech savvy of European SMEs, which means that we are mapping the companies. We are trying to see what is happening, what is existing in Europe, in order to have a global view of the tech savvy, because we need them for our project in order to help those companies who are considered as traditional ones. So the STAR project is making a geo-referenced mapping of the European tech-savvy SMEs, having developed solutions based on advanced technologies, suitable to help the SMEs on the railway and multimodality sector in order to increase their performance and competitiveness. Here you have the QR code in order to go directly to the website where the database is available about mapping all the tech savvy that we have done up to now. What we have done is already mapping or 400 SMEs, and our aim is before September 2023 to arrive to 1,000 SMEs to be mapped. But they are not only tech savvy, they are tech savvy that have some solutions suitable for the value chain in the railway and multimodality environment. Today, it's impossible to show every tech savvy SME. We have selected randomly a few among those that have who are able to provide the solution, and we will see them in the next slides. So we selected 4 of them. The first is Plan A from Germany. The focus of this tool from Plan A is on CO2. Then we have a French solution, TRACE. It's also focused on CO2. It means that there is not only one solution at European level, but it's possible, let's say, to choose or to find the best tool. Then we have a French solution from OLIS, which is based on eco-design and LCA. We have heard this already in the presentation of Susanne and Veronica. And then we have an Italian solution, a tool by the Italian company Circularity, which is based on circularity. Let's see those tools. I would like to start from Plan A, the German solution. You will see on all of those tools that the common word will be platform. All those companies, tech-savvy SMEs, have developed platforms. It's important to see that this is the tool that, the basic tool that is developed by all of them. Certainly, they are oriented to sustainability and to reach an entire net zero journey. In order to reach the goals at 2030 or 2050, according to the plan of the different companies, applying those tools, but these tools are only tools. It's the question of having the SMEs wishing to reach and be obliged to reach those goals. Let's say that Plan A, it's an important company, important because it's already referenced at the European Commission level, because their tool has been used and indicated as a reference at European level. Let's start to see some screenshots that are coming from their website, and the methodology of those platforms. This in the case of Plan A, the first step is collect data, because those are the meaning of what will be then the whole path they will follow. So collect data, and then it's measure at 360 degrees, because it's important to have a global view of what is the current situation. Current because, well, we will see later. In the meantime, the first step is report. It's important to have reporting, and here again I would like to stress the link to the regulation, because it's on a voluntary basis that the reporting can be done for the environment and social and governance point of view, but it's also toward regulation. Then I say it's possible to, in this platform, to set targets. So the SME, the company wishing to use this tool can set its own targets in order to arrive to define what is the medium or long-term activities having some targets. Then there is the path. In order to reach those targets, there is a need to have action, to plan action in order to reach the net zero. So this is the actions to be followed. Then it's possible for the long term to improve their the target, remodulate what has been done up to now in order to have a new path and reach the set target or the new modified targets. So this is the first tool. The second one, the French one, TRACE, is again a platform. again means that this is the way it's presented. What is interesting in this platform is to see that there is the concept of the carbon footprint measurement scope 1, 2, and 3. Again, this is coming from regulation. It's coming from a way to analyze sustainability and in order to manage it. When we go to the page of the platform of TRAS, what is interesting is that here we have a tailored, we can tailor the platform. It means that it's easy, it's possible, and then easy also to tailor the perimeter, to adjust the KPIs, to measure, to indicate the KPIs, yes, to define the different subparts that want to be, again, certainly measured and compared to the target. Just to give an idea of what the Trace has done as a use case, I've extracted those some few slides about the use case of Novepan, which is a manufacturer of bread and snack in France. It's a medium company. They have 6 sites in France. It's not a small, it's not a SME. It's more a large enterprise, 80 million of turnover and 300 employees. And what is important is to understand that they have decided since 2019 to reduce the environmental footprint. And this is done through an impact on scope 1, 2, and 3 on the carbon footprint. What has been done during this path they have started in 2019 is to arrive to a partial current situation in which they understood they have they have a new and clear vision of the emission. They know more where they have to improve their process in order to reduce and continue to reduce the impact on sustainability. And what is interesting is in this comment of the manager, the fact that also scope 3 is engaged in this case, because they also started to challenge their main suppliers. So it's not only something concerning one single company, it's the whole value chain and supply chain. The third example is the company Olis. And again, this is a platform, which is very interesting because it's based on putting in evidence the power of eco-design and the life cycle assessment that we have already heard in the previous presentation. Again, it's a platform and is based on three verbs, which is quantify, improve, and communicate. Let's see what they are doing. So what they say is, have you never heard of a product LCA before? That's the important question they have in mind at the basis of their tool. Life cycle assessment is a methodology to generate insight into your product environmental performance by rigorously examining each step of their life cycle, from the extraction of raw material to the product elimination. So the complete supply chain. Certainly, each company, each SME has to adapt it to its own manufacturing process. manufacturing or the complete list of steps in the process. Again, they are working on the three words quantify, improve, and communicate. But what is interesting here is the advanced technology, the artificial intelligence. It means that it's not only based on the same kind of process that we have seen before. Here we have in the quantify part the assessment of the product by mapping. So mapping is always important and necessary in order to know from where we are starting. But then we have the improve phase. In the improve phase, there is the analysis and the exploration of the eco-design scenarios. And here the artificial intelligence can be used. Then what is important is communicate. Again, in two ways. The first one will be internally, but also externally. Let's see those phases for quantify. I would just like to focus on the right-hand side picture, which is the tree of the different activities of the process. Each activity is subdivided in micro activity and is pictured with and there is a picture of each box. Each box which can be analyzed and improved in order to have a global path which is improved. What I would like to say is that this company, we met this company at the beginning of the year, and we invited them to our fourth general meeting of STARS, where they presented the tool, the platform, but also they applied this for a railway product. It was an intelligent wheel. Is it existing or not? What is important is to try to show that the platform is really, let's say, easy to use once we know the bill of material of the intelligent wheel, which is a wheel with a sensor able to calculate temperature, vibration, and things like that, and GPS. Is not important the product itself. What is important is the methodology of this tool, which decompact the product in several pieces, and the phase, knowing also the different phase for the manufacturing is helping to calculate the impact in terms of sustainability or not. So improve, okay, and communicate, which is important for the to communicate internally and externally, as I said. Now the last point of the last tool is the Italian Circularity tool. Here we have the circular economy. This is why I was saying that it's an important word extracted from Veronica's presentation. It's again a platform, but maybe you will say, but this is not coherent with what we have heard before. Here, the Circularity company is focusing on material and waste recovery. So it's not the complete value chain, is only is more focused on material and waste. This is important even if it's a part of the complete chain. The platform, how it works, it's a geo-referenced circular economy platform and is dedicated to the recycling of waste and the measurement of the environmental impact. So the material is the basis and the what is used and shared in this platform. But how it works? It's a way to recycle and to give a new life to production waste. Again, the companies have to register themselves, characterize the material they want to recycle and they propose for exchanges or for selling. And then there is a matching and try to identify opportunities with matching and industrial in order to reuse this material or part of the waste. But is this considered as a way to improve the complete chain? Yes, certainly. How can we figure it as a successful way to platform? It's the fact that 20,000, more than 20,000 companies are on the platform. 500 materials are plus than 500 materials are exchanged or researched or proposed. First proposed, then exchange, certainly, and they have impact on more than 2,000 parameters of environment. This means that certainly this is one part of the complete path that is necessary, very useful. We have seen it also in the graphic, the last graphic of Veronica, and this is the fourth example that I would like I have shown you. So what the Circularity platform is also doing is the measure of the sustainability of the company and figure out how to improve the performance, especially towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. This is the end of my presentation about tools. It was a little bit in a hurry, but I hope that you had some interesting ideas to develop or use them. But as I said, it's only 4 of the tools that we have selected randomly. There are others, and I hope that this will help you in order to go in this direction furthermore. Thank you for your attention.
Many thanks, Guido, for this overview. And before leaving, I mean, the possibility to the participants to make questions to all of us, I'm sharing through the chat the new, I mean, the upcoming tutorials. So I will accompany the links I posted together with some, I mean, final slides. So on the 2nd of June, so this Friday, there will be very interesting and very important STARS tutorial where the speakers will be the European Railway Agency of the EU, okay, with Joseph Doppelbauer, first of all, as a keynote speaker, and representatives for innovation from Alstom and from ÖBB. So again, our friends from Austria are contributing heavily to the development of the railway sector. So this is on Friday, and you find the link to register in the chat. Then we will have on the 6th of June another one on advanced material usage in railway industry. So you see that once again, I mean, the green part of the railway value chain and greening rail through innovation on the 2nd of June and advanced material usage on the 6th of June are absolutely in line with the topics covered today. Last but not the least, we have already delivered a set of 6 tutorials that, together with the STARS and the URCI joint webinars, are all available on the dedicated STARS YouTube channel, whose link I have posted as well. So I hope you will continue your learning path with us. I don't know if there are possible questions from the audience. Let me see. Seems not. So I will use these final seconds to leave the participants the possibility to make questions. And let me thank Susanne and Guido for their time and their expertise, for having shared with us. Feel free to reach out to the 3 of us in case of further information you may need. And we will share more documents and useful info and tools with you as soon as possible. So no questions arrived, so thank you all, and thanks for participating, and have a very great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Veronica.
Thank you. Bye-bye to everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.